He took one out for one Falcon Wrath Noble. And he has 3 Brimstone Volley, 2 Searing Spear, and 2 Bump in the Night. So usually, instead of the Bump in the Night, you'll see cards like Mark of Mutiny, to go along with all his sack outlets. But I guess he felt Bump in the Night was better. Maybe feeling that he'd play against a lot of enchantment decks or hexproof decks, and not wanting a card like Mark of Mutiny.
Yeah, wants the reach instead.
Yeah.
Basically accomplishing the same goal. One's a little bit more narrow, so it just depends on the matchups, honestly.
Yeah.
And which one ends up being better for the weekend. But we see both players starting off here. Dale starting off with the Rakdos Cackler that is unleashed, along with the Knight of Infamy. Got in for 3. And we see that John just has a Diregraph Ghoul. So doesn't look like he's doing too much here. Does have 2 lands and he has passed. He did not play a 2-drop. Smelling maybe a Searing Spear here. And depending on how Dale chooses to attack, see how good the spear is going to be.
I think he's... Oh, okay. So we'll definitely find out if he has a spear.
Yeah, so he's going to want a spear beforehand. Unless, of course, you want a Searing Spear the Blood Artist, but I think that would be a little bit unusual.
Yeah, not right now. I think he'd prefer to just slow down the attack a little bit and hope to deal with the Blood Artist a little later on, which could be a mistake, but it looks like he still has another piece of removal anyway, which he might use on the Blood Artist this turn.
So we see Diregraph Ghoul coming across again for John. Let's see if we have a Pillar Flame here, and we do. We have Pillar Flame to take care of the Blood Artist here, so that's going to get rid of that. We'll see if John has a follow-up or if he's just going to have to go with that Blood Crypt and say go. And that's what the turn's going to be.
Yeah, it looks like they both might have an Aristocrat. Or maybe just John does, but yep. So another swing for 2, dropping John to 11. Maybe we're going to get a Grave Crawler right here, dropping John to 9. So yeah, good thing he got rid of the Blood Artist. Blood Artist is kind of a beating in this matchup with all the creature exchanges going back and forth.
Yeah, we've seen Blood Artists before in these black-red mirrors really play a huge role. It acts as an enchantment, mostly, obviously, because it's 0-1 and it can't attack, but it is something that you actually do have to get off of the table, because if they start showing up in multiples, they'll take over the game by themselves.
Yep.
But Dale did come back with a Drawless Messenger. John has one of his own, so we do have Drawless Messengers trading back and forth, but one of the things you'll find in these black-red mirrors is that the first person who has Drawless Messenger, especially on the play, is the one that typically does win, because it's a horrible blocker.
Yes. And doesn't look like Dale has a Hell Rider or an Aristocrat. Probably would have slammed it if he did. So debating maybe whether or not he should attack with a Cackler or just swing in with a Messenger. And again, this is like, if the Blood Artist was in play, not even a question that he attacks with both. But maybe he just wants to attack with a Messenger, hoping to draw another Blood Artist later in the game.
What do you do if you're in this spot here?
I think, I don't know if I would have attacked with both, just because Dale has cards like Falcon Wrath Noble and Aristocrat and Bloodthrone Vampire, which could come in handy later on, having a Cackler in play,
Sure.
But depends on what his follow-up is. If his follow-up is nothing, then I'm not a fan of that play.
Okay. Well, his follow-up certainly is nothing right now. He does just get in that 3 points of damage with the Messenger. The Diregraph Ghoul trades with the Rakdos Cackler. And it looks like Dale is just on Messenger or Bust right now. Plenty of good draw steps available. But John has, for the time being, stabilized.
Yeah, the problem with the attack last turn is that Dale has cards like Brimstone Volley, along with all the other cards I mentioned, that are really good if you just have creatures in play.
Sure.
And God forbid John had a Pillar of Flame to deal with the Gravecrawler. Dale basically has, very few draw steps that'll help him given the board state. So probably wouldn't have attacked there. But again, an Aristocrat will still win him the game. So let's see what he draws. Bump in the Night wouldn't be a bad spell either.
No, actually not bad at all.
Ensures that, if I draw a spell or a land, I'm in decent shape.
So we see John starting to get in on the aggressive here, as he did attack with that Drawless Messenger, got the Exalted Trigger from the Knight, knocked life totals from 10 to 6. And you're in this situation now where John, the pendulum is swinging back his way, and he's just hoping that, the Drawless Messenger that Dale has, it'll get its 2 more, from the Undying Trigger. But outside of that, he's hoping, hopefully not too much more. It's a nice face for the decision on does he want to go down to 3 or does he want to block with that Knight of Infamy?
Yeah, I'd be afraid of Searing Spear right here. Especially considering John has an Aristocrat in his hand. If he draws a land, he's in really good shape. You know, I don't think I'd want to drop to 3 here. I think I'd want to block.
And block is what we are going to see. John's going to go down to 4. Undying Trigger from the Messenger.
No Brimstone Volley.
He's going to draw a card, draws another Falkenrath Aristocrat.
Still no 4th land here.
So we're going to see an attack here for 5, putting Dale down to 5. One thing important here for John, John does have a Searing Spear in his hand for that Dross Messenger. And if you're going to kill it, you got to kill it right now, because you don't want to open yourself up to that morbid Brimstone Volley.
Yeah, and again, he's not aware that Brimstone Volley probably exists in Dale's deck. It's not you know, a definite 4 of in a lot of these lists, so maybe he just forgot about it. Either way, I agree with you 100%. You gotta kill it there.
So now we see Dale surveying his position, looking at that Messenger. Am I supposed to attack with this? Maybe I'm supposed to put the brakes on, but he's going to come across, and we're going to see that Searing Spear. Now, does he have the Brimstone Volley? He's reaching. 2 mana. Bloodthrone Vampire. Cavern of Souls. We'll figure out what he's naming on that. Likely to be Zombie. He does draw a card. No land for John again, so no Aristocrat to end this one.
We have a Grave Crawler. Okay. It looks like he just has a Grave Crawler there.
And Vampire's name on Dale's Cavern of Souls, not Zombie. So thank you to our spotter for that, as you do see a Gravecrawler. And just a Gravecrawler coming in here now. Slowing down.
Attention Magic players. If I call your table number, I need you to call the judge. We are going to repair you. Again, please listen carefully. Table 87.
So Bloodthrone Vampire's going to jump in front.
So I think he's just afraid of Searing Spear, which is odd considering that if he had a Searing Spear, he probably just kills him and attacks. Yeah. So not sure he needed to play around Searing Spear there.
Table 177. And also Mr. Castillo.
And, you know, again, I hate to bring it up again, but he just drew Blood Artist. So if that Cackler was in play, I believe his hand is Searing Spear Blood Artist. You know, you can't give away these little edges. You know, you make a small mistake here and there, and he's kicking himself for it. You know, he didn't have to block there. If his opponent had Searing Spear, he's dead. Yeah, he would have just killed the Bloodthrone Vampire. He would have killed the Bloodthrone Vampire and attacked both his creatures. So obviously he doesn't have Searing Spear, doesn't have a creature to sack now, and suddenly, you know, John's probably going to win this game.
Gotta remember what your outs are in every given situation. As now we do see a Pillar of Flame. It's going to take care of that Blood Artist, and this is going to be a lethal attack now. Searing Spear going to target the Gravecrawler. It's
so
going to
bring him up to 6. So he's not dead just yet. So he still has Aristocrat as an out, or Brimstone Volley, or Searing Spear, or Bumping.
Gave himself a shot.
Gave himself a shot. He has outs.
Gravecrawler comes back. Draw a card. Not going to do it.
Well, it was exciting. You know, haven't seen 2 zombie mirrors.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we had a zombie mirror on camera here, but John Solis is going to be up a game here, and you can see Dale kind of looking up, definitely kicking himself, thinking about exactly what you said.
It would have, you know, the question is whether or not Solis had the Pillar of Flame. I'm not sure if he top decked at that last turn. Might not have mattered if he did have it, but again, it's like, you have to think about it. If your opponent had a Searing Spear, which is the only reason Dale probably does block there, because he thinks, okay, well, I don't want to drop to 5. I don't want to drop to 3 and get speared out. But the thing is, if he has a spear, then he spears your guy and attacks with the Gravecrawler and the Dross Messenger. So you got to put him on not having a spear there, and you got to remember that you have an out of a Blood Artist. You know, so you know, just it's your deck. You know what your deck is designed to do. Don't lose sight of that. Remember think about all your outs. Think about what you can draw. Think about whether or not you need to block. You know, think about, okay, I know Searing Spear can kill me, but would it kill me anyway? Sure. You know, you have to really think about all these things. You can't just focus on oh, what if he has this? It's like, okay, if he has this, does it matter if I block?
Yeah.
So.
And that's kind of been a recurring theme over the course of the day. I mean, I remember in round 1 when we saw those Rakdos returns being met with dissipates. How much does this matter right now?
Yeah, and that's something that if you test a lot and you start testing these matchups, you'll figure those things out. But if you're not as experienced, you're going to lose sight of certain things. You're just going to hear, oh, Rakdos returning is really great. You know, I don't want to lose the Spearing Spear. You can't lose sight of what your deck does and what cards are left in your deck, and to maximize the number of outs that you have. Because, you know, Dale, again, we see it again. Dale could have won that game if he just doesn't block there.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, those small decisions are the difference between, you know, going 8-2 or 9-1 in any tournament.
Yeah.
You know, just small, minor decisions like that, and also how they affect you emotionally as well. Because you can tell he's kicking himself right now, and he does need to take a moment to just take a step back, take a deep breath, just kind of regroup.
It's, you know, it's not a bad matchup. You know, you got a lot of cards that are annoying for John to deal with. So just play your game, shake off the first game, and get to it. You know.
Now, speaking of cards he has to deal with, I know you have Dale's deck list in front of you. Anything that he can board in here to help this matchup? Pillar of Flames, any of that stuff?
Yeah, he's got 2 more Pillar of Flames. He's got 2 Dreadbore. Might board in Appetite of Brains to deal with the cards like Falcon Red Aristocrat and Thundermare Hellkite, which as well as Hellrider, which are cards that he doesn't really want to see. Probably not boarding in the Charm or the Liliana or the Underworld Connections or the Rakdos Return. So he also has 1 Zealous Conscript, which I don't see coming in. Probably boarding out maybe 2 Bump and Night, just because even though his deck is sort of designed to do a lot of damage, you know, and burn, but I don't think it's going to help him if his opponent gets a certain type of draw. So maybe he just wants to Pillar of Flames, you know. Don't do as much damage as a Bump in the Night, but they certainly stop some of the draws that John can get that can be bothersome, like a Dross Mystery.
Taking a look here, you're going to find 2 Appetite for Brains on my side, and there are Falcon Wrath Aristocrats over there. There's also 1 Falcon Wrath Noble, but I don't think, taking a look, no Hellrider or Thundermaw Hellkite, so he's not going that high.
No, his deck doesn't top out.
2 copies of Zealous Conscripts, 2 copies of Slaughter Games, 2 Rakdos Charm, 2 Tragic Slip. Slip actually looking pretty good in this particular matchup.
Definitely good against Aristocrat.
Normally not very good in the Zombie Mirror. Good against Aristocrat, good against Blood Artists as well.
Yes.
Also going to find 2 Bonfire of the Damned and 2 Vampire Nighthawks.
Yes. Nighthawk's definitely coming in.
Yeah. So he's definitely got some options here. Probably move out those ultimate prices. Maybe move out either the Grave Crawlers or the Diagraph Ghouls, as they're a lot worse on the draw for John Solis. As we do see a Rakdos Cackler start the game, we have a Diagraph Ghoul here for John to start things off as well. So both have their 1 mana 2 power guys to start. That's something that's interesting as those players do begin play that I wanted to bring up to you, but they started a little bit quickly. Appetite for Brains.
Yeah.
In this sort of matchup where the discard is good, but you can't afford to draw, you know, late when it would be a dead draw.
Yeah.
You need a little something, you know, a little something better, be it a creature, be it a burn spell, what have you. How do you feel about boarding those in against a deck where A, you can miss, but B, you know, if you're drawing at the wrong time, it's pretty backbreaking.
Yeah, again, Aristocrat's so good in this matchup, but at the same time, I don't think you can afford to blank. So, you know, it's something I would consider, but ultimately I don't think you can really afford to bring it in. I think all the other cards are pretty good, and, you know, I think Pillar of Flame, possibly Dreadbore, are the only cards that you can afford to bring in this matchup. You want something that can kill Dross Messenger, but you don't really want a card like if you miss with an Appetite of Brains, it's pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
And he looks like he kept in the Bump in the Night. So my guess is he probably just brought in 2 pillars for maybe Gravecrawler. I'm not sure how good Gravecrawler is in this matchup. On the play, I think I'd still keep it in. On the draw, maybe it's a lot worse. But maybe Noble. Noble might not be that great.
A little bit slow.
A little bit slow.
So we'll see John here with a Pillar Flame, going to target the Rakdos Cackler.
Sacking the creature?
Oddly enough, he's not. I'm not sure if that's going to come back to bite him.
Why he wouldn't just sack it, but
You're going to see a second Rakdos skill gate here to go along with that Cavern of Souls and Diagraph Ghoul, and John is just going to pass the turn back. Dale currently at 14, John at 12. Dale having a Bloodthrone Vampire.
So he boarded in a Rakdos return, which is interesting. I haven't seen that very much in the mirror, but it looks pretty good right here. You use a lot of your removal early. Gets to play an Aristocrat here, attacks with closest creatures. If John does have an Aristocrat, Dale can just play a 5th land and Rakdos return him for 3, which is will put him in pretty good shape.
And you do see the Aristocrat come across along with the Bloodthrone Vampire. Gonna knock John down to 7. John just with his lone Diagraph Ghoul right now. Gonna have to consider playing some defense here, as he's not gonna be able to out-aggro Dale, especially when you're on the draw in this matchup. It's just incredibly difficult to do. We're gonna see a Knight of Infamy here. And Diagraph Ghoul is gonna keep coming right on in. And you do see, I believe, a Pillar of Flame in John's hand.
Yeah, so this would be perfect if he just tries to clear off the board a little bit, uses a pillar on the Falcon Aristocrat, forces Dale to sack them with.
Andres Hernandez,
so,
main event stage, please.
Not going to do that. Dale can now attack and pretty much Rakdos return him out.
Yeah, and that should finish it off.
Does he have a 5th mana?
We see a Rakdos Gilgate. We see a Swamp.
Okay.
Yep.
So should be able to finish him off here.
As long as he doesn't overthink things, I mean, he's pretty safe. He's got the Vulcan Aristocrat. He has a creature to sacrifice.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Just attack with your 4 mana guy.
Can't do anything about Tragic Slip anyway.
Yeah, if he has Tragic Slip, he has Tragic Slip.
Yep.
No real need to attack with both creatures, but
interesting here. Okay, he's just gonna take. He's just gonna take the damage. He's gonna go down to 2.
And Rakdos.
And you are gonna see a Rakdos return to finish things off. And John is gonna scoop him up. So Dale Montgomery wins game 2. And these players will be playing game 3 to see who's gonna move on to 7-0. A deck that you thought would show up quite a bit here this weekend, either mono red or just a pure aggressive deck to kind of combat these hexproof decks. And we have 2 players here at 6-0 with very similar decks.
Yes. If you're a fan of aggressive decks and facial gear, you've come to the right place.
Absolutely. As we do see both players re-sideboarding here. Also, if you're a fan of Penguin Sleeves, which I am.
Penguin sleeves are fantastic.
And you know where you can find those.
Where?
StarCityGames.com.
StarCityGames.com.
I know. Shameless we are.
Shameless plug.
That's right. You can get your Penguin Sleeves and Penguin Playmat over at StarCityGames.com if you like. Actually, we sold a bunch of those today. I'm actually a big fan of those sleeves. All joking aside, I think they actually look pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like the artwork a lot. I love the tokens too. I mean, a lot of cool things going on.
Get your Jerry token sign. Get your Brad
I would
token
love to
sign.
get my Jerry token
One
sign.
could only be so lucky.
I'd love to get my all the cards signed. Who designed those?
Kristen, I'm gonna get her last name wrong. Oh, Liz Nugent is the designer of the
tokens.
The Penguin tokens. Okay. Yeah, the designer of the Penguin artwork.
Therese Nielsen.
Plesko. Kristen Plesko is the designer of the Jerry, Brad, Chapin, Flores, and Kibler tokens. And those things are awesome.
Yes.
Those are a big
Except
game.
for the Flores token.
Oh, wow. Comes firing with a bullet. Why don't we like the Flores token?
I mean, they're fine. I wouldn't use them in a match. If I was playtesting with my friends, I might use them.
Maybe. Only if you had anything else.
Yeah, if I had nothing else.
So we do see both players shuffling here for a very important game 3.
Very important.
I think
determines who goes undefeated at 7-0. Very good shot of making top 8.
Yeah.
One more win they could draw in.
Who played first game 1?
I believe John played first.
Okay.
No, I believe Dale played first both games.
Yeah, I think Dale played first both games too. And John was on the play for game 3.
Yes, because Dale was able to get the messenger to attack first.
Right.
Dale went messenger, John went messenger.
Okay.
So yes, John's going to get to be on the play for the first time this match.
Die roll super important in this match.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's die roll dependent, but
Not
it
only,
is pretty important.
Well, it also can determine how you sideboard. Some people will sideboard differently depending if they're on the play or drawing this matchup. So
yeah.
Very important.
So we see John taking a look at his 7 cards. Is that a Captain Planet t-shirt?
I think it's
That's Superman.
Friends.
Okay.
I know it's Superman. I don't know if there's other superheroes on there.
Maybe I just wanted it to be a Captain
I think Dale might have a
t-shirt.
Jace. Oh, I'm sorry. That looks like a. It looks like a fat bald man with a guitar. It's not Johnny Cash.
No.
It looks like Alfred Hitchcock with a guitar for some reason.
I don't think he plays
At
guitar.
first, I thought it was Jace.
I did too.
I thought it was
actually.
Jace Bellerin.
Yeah, in the shadows.
In the
With
shadows.
the hood, yeah. That's what I thought too. Now it just looks like it does look like a man with a guitar.
Maybe it's. Is it Big Pun? The guitar is throwing me off. I don't know why.
Antonio Banderas?
I don't know any fat bald people that played the guitar.
B.B. King?
B.B. King? No, that's not B.B. King.
Nah, it can't be B.B. King. I don't even know if he played the guitar. I think
Is that
he did.
Vin Diesel? Does Vin Diesel play the guitar? All right.
He could only be so lucky.
Everyone's favorite, turn 1 Rakdos Guildgates on both sides.
Yeah. One for all.
So, and another tap land. And just so you know at home, that tap land came into play tapped.
Yep.
Everything's legal so far.
Dragon Skull Summit, because there is not a Mountain Ori swamp into play,
They
it isn't coming
can't.
to play tapped.
Gravecrawler kept it in on the draw. Interesting.
And a Dragon Skull Summit again,
Again.
coming to play tapped. And now we have a swamp.
And one of the better cards in the mirror, Vampire Nighthawk.
Now this is the kind of card you look at Dale's deck list. He has 2 Searing Spears, he has 3 Brimstone Volleys, he has outs to this card, 2 Dreadbores in his sideboard, but does he have an answer for it right now?
I mean, he's got that Rakdos return in his hand. I'm not loving that card, especially on the draw. Like, he does have the Searing Spear though, so
now's as good as time as any. Get
might
that
as
thing
well
out of
might
here.
as well draw one of my 2 Searing Spears.
Get that thing
Get out of here.
Gravecrawler coming in for 2. John going to go down to 18. He's going to tap. He's going to draw. And does he have one of his awesome 4-drops?
Oh, he's another Nighthawk, which is pretty good. Maybe a Hellrider?
Hellrider
There we go.
is.
Finally, a Hellrider makes an appearance in this match.
So we'll have 1 from the trigger, 3 from the combat damage. Going to knock Dale down to 16. And the race is on here.
The heat is on. Let's go. Nope, doesn't have a land for an Aristocrat here.
Uh-oh.
That Rakdos return is just staring him in the face. An X is getting added to the casting cost every turn he doesn't draw a land.
It's true. It's just going to get worse and worse as these
worse
turns
and
go
worse.
on. So see, we got 2 mana here. We're going to have a Knight of Infamy, a card that cannot trade with the Hellrider. Gravecrawler will come across for 3 because of the Exalted trigger, but he's still staring that problem in the face, which is the Hellrider.
Yeah, it's if John has an Aristocrat here too, the game's going to be over very quickly.
Which, lucky for Dale, he does not. He has a 3rd Rakdos Guildgate. Excuse me, a 2nd Rakdos Guildgate. He's going to come across for 4 again, 1 from the trigger, 3 from the damage. And I think he has that 2nd Vampire Nighthawk, as you said.
Yeah, so it might be Nighthawk Gravecrawler right here. Yeah, so again, Rakdos return looked good last game. Doesn't look that good this game.
Yeah.
Don't really think it belongs in this matchup. Even last game, it seemed a little bit like overkill.
Yeah.
Didn't seem necessary, but and he draws another Aristocrat. So
Well, one thing that's interesting is you take a look at John's deck list. You find a fairly stock deck list, but the one thing that's important here is that he has 24 mana.
yeah.
You look at Dale's deck list, yes, his curve is
22.
lower, but he only has 22.
But that's the thing. You can't board in X spells when you only have 22 lands.
Yeah.
That Rakdos return could be a Dreadbore.
Yeah. And that would turn this game
it
around.
would turn the game around. So, you know, probably not the ideal sideboard plan. But, you know, he's also stalled on 3 mana, so.
I'm a little surprised not to see a block there. Gravecrawler comes in, Vampire Nighthawk stands tall, doesn't block. How do you feel about that?
I think it's fine. I think he preferred to attack. I mean, what really happens there? The Gravecrawler is going to come back into play anyway.
Sure.
So I think he kind of senses Dale's a little mana screwed. Why not attack for 2 with the Nighthawk next turn and also get another Hellrider trigger?
Now we're going to see a Gravecrawler and another Diagraph Ghoul. So he's got some ground pounders out there. None of them do a very good job of blocking. And he's in a bad situation. The Hellrider can even come across here. He's just going to trade with 2 guys.
Once again, Standard for the box 3.
So John might be a little concerned here because, well, no, not anymore.
Yeah. Throw caution to the wind and get those guys in there.
Something going. Clear attack. Maybe he'll forget the trigger.
He's gonna do some quick math. He was ready to attack quickly, but let me think about this for just a moment.
Think. How much am I doing? I'm doing 4. Only 2 of my creatures can block. They have to block. I'm gonna kill both of them and get to replay the Gravecrawler. No, can't replay the Gravecrawler, but yeah, he definitely attack here.
Get in there. Get your 4 triggers. Can't stop, won't stop.
He might have been concerned with well, maybe Dale's got a couple of Hell Riders stuck in his hand, and if he contacts a 4th mana, maybe that'll be enough to kill me. But that's not the case.
Yeah, he's got a block.
He's got a block here.
So you see,
he drops to 8. Now he's taken 6, goes to 2.
Yep.
John goes up to 14.
Even a card, as you're going to see Dragon Skull Summon to come into play, even a card like Bonfire of the Damned wouldn't even save him.
Doesn't even have it in his deck.
He can only Bonfire for 2, first of all. Second of all, Falcon Aristocrat does have text,
Yes.
believe it or not. So, Dale Montgomery, I think you were going to take your first loss on the day, unfortunately.
Oh, I mean, I'd probably still rack this return for 1 since he brought it in. Might as well just get it out there.
Get your value.
Get your value out there. You're going to bring it in.
Show him who the boss is, at the very least. See, Daly's thinking about it. But I think Dale's going to come to the same conclusion that we've already come to, which is, I got all these cards, I don't need lands to cast them, and I'm just too far behind at this point to be able to win. Just kind of sucks for me didn't hit his 4th land on time, but again, only 22.
If you're only playing 22 lands, you're not going to hit 4 lands all the time, so.
Hey, there it is. There it is. You asked for it, you got it.
Thank you, Dale.
John Solis moves on to 7-0 with his Black-Red Zombies deck this weekend, defeating Dale